That's the number. 40 villains so dangerous, so terrifying, that even the Doctor, the Time Lord who outsmarts gods, barely survived. And no, I'm not just talking about Daleks and Cybermen. We're diving into the ones that slipped under your radar, the monsters that rewrote timelines, and yes, the villains that killed without mercy. Because here's the question: who is truly the deadliest villain in Doctor Who history? And trust me, your first guess might be wrong. So buckle up, because by the end of this list, you'll never look at a blue police box the same way again. Before the comment section explodes, let's lay this out. We're counting on screen lethality, plus overall threat level to the universe. Classic, modern, spin-offs. If they're canon, they're fair game. And yes, that includes villains who killed emotionally as well as physically. So with that in mind, let's start with the nightmare fuel lurking at number 40. Laugh if you want. Yes, they farted. Yes, they look like rejected Power Rangers villains. But these guys wiped out entire families for profit. They turned Earth into a business deal. And they almost nuked the planet just to cash in. Underrated? Absolutely. A species you forget the second you look away? Think about that. They could be in your house right now, and you'd never know. They manipulated human history for centuries, and nearly turned the Doctor into a weapon. Creepy doesn't even cover it. The literal devil. Chained in the pit before the universe existed. Mind control, fire, and whispers that drove men insane. Oh, and he nearly destroyed a black hole prison just to escape. Casual villainy. You know that weird fear of two-dimensional shapes? These guys are why. They flattened humans into walls like living murals, and then tried to invade three-dimensional space. Pure nightmare fuel from Capaldi's era. Stay out of the shadows. That line still haunts me. Microscopic monsters, lurking in every dark corner, stripping flesh from bone in seconds. And the worst part, they weren't evil, just hungry. It never even had a name, a presence, a voice. And it broke the Doctor in ways no other creature ever did, turning his words against him. It killed without touching. It killed with paranoia. Creepy scarecrows, soulless faces, and a hunger for immortality. But the real horror, the Doctor's revenge. If you thought the family was scary, wait until you see what he did to them. Mannequins, plastic faces, gun hands. The invasion that kicked off modern Who, and terrified an entire generation twice over. They don't need dialogue. Just that blank stare in a shop window. A giant spider queen awakening her brood at the Earth's core. Sounds camp, sure. But the scale of her plan? She would have bled the planet dry to feed her children. That's next level monstrous parenting. Blood control. One phrase and you're jumping off a building. They enslaved humanity without firing a shot. And they nearly killed 10 before his first proper adventure. And that's just 31 through 40. These were the lesser threats. Let that sink in. Because in part 2, we climb into the top 30, where genocidal masterminds, cosmic predators, and ancient gods start showing up. But let me ask you this, who's your bet for number 1? Daleks? Cybermen? Or someone even worse? Drop your pick in the comments right now. And don't cheat by scrolling ahead. Oh, and if you want the rest of this list, hit subscribe, because what's coming will mess with your timeline. So you thought the Slitheen were bad. Cute. Because now we're heading into villains who didn't just kill a few people. They wiped out species, corrupted civilizations, and nearly cracked reality itself. Ready for Fate 30? Here we go. First introduced in the snowy wilderness, later masterminding London's underground, and finally, hijacking Clara's timeline in the name of the Doctor. Its plan? Erase the Doctor from history. Casual genocide by Time Stream. A serpent of pure malice, thriving in fear and weakness. It slithered through minds, turned dreams into nightmares, and nearly consumed Tegan whole. Psychological horror at its finest. Crabs the size of houses that feed on fear. They enslaved humans for generations, and almost erased themselves from Who history until Russell T Davies dragged them back. Underrated. Criminally. Yes, the Master will rank higher later, but this is the early Chaos version. Charm. Hypnosis. And a casual streak of body, swapping and world domination. If this is the appetizer, wait for the entree. Once noble, once honorable, until desperation turned them into predators. Frozen weapons of war from Mars, and proof that Who villains work best when morality blurs. Not a villain in the traditional sense, but a manifestation of the Doctor's darkest self. He didn't need to kill. He made you want to kill yourself. The deadliest thing about him, he lives inside the Doctor. Shapeshifters who could be anyone. Your boss, your partner, your president. Their invasion was so subtle, half the Earth surrendered before it noticed. And yes, their peace treaty. Still fragile. One of the Time Lords who gave the Doctor his very existence. Turn bitter, get exiled, and threaten to annihilate the universe in a rage fit. Talk about a bad breakup. Founder of Time Lord Society. Savior. Dictator. God complex wrapped in ceremonial robes. When he shows up, it's never for tea. It's for rewriting reality. Forget petty tyrants. This guy embodies cosmic malevolence. He wants chaos for chaos' sake. He corrupted Turlo, he meddled with key to time. And he's proof that villains don't need guns when they've got eternity. Predators that kill you by sending you to the past. Sounds merciful? Until you realize they steal your entire life, feeding on the time you should have had. Game over? Don't blink. Easiest rule, hardest to follow. Upgraded humanity with zero consent. Cold, logical, and willing to wipe out planets for spare parts. Every iteration got worse. And by the time we hit the body, horror of the Mundasian era, they weren't just scary, they were tragic. Yes, they're not Fanny 1. Not even close. Because while they've racked up billions of deaths, their predictability keeps them from being the most dangerous. Still, a universe without Daleks. It wouldn't be who. Wait, you thought this would rank low? Think again. Because this thing never needed an army. It only needed you. Your words. Your breath. And it nearly made the Doctor powerless on a single bus ride. From Sarah Jane Adventures. But don't dismiss him. He rewrote timelines, stole futures, and made humanity dance on puppet strings. The Doctor feared him for a reason, a deviation that almost became salvation, until it spiraled into horror. When Daleks play God, the universe bleeds. Yes, it ranks twice, because its influence is deeper than most realize. The first being to challenge the Doctor's belief system, and win. Ancient evil. Chessmaster villainy. He manipulated Ace. He twisted faith into a weapon. And he did it all while laughing at the Doctor's morality. Imagine a villain who turns existence into a game, and you're the pieces. Lose, and you vanish forever. Kids' TV. Sure. If those kids like existential dread. The drumbeat. The resurrection. The dance of death. When the Master came back, it wasn't just war. It was psychological obliteration. Entire populations enslaved for his amusement. And he's still out there? And that's fair 30 to Fe 11. Think about it, the Daleks didn't even break the top 10. So who did? Who's worse than genocide machines and body horror nightmares? In part 3, we reveal the 10 deadliest villains in Doctor Who history. And number 1 will make you question everything you know about the Whoniverse. Drop your predictions below. Angel, Army. If you think Weeping Angels top the list, Master's Plan. If you think the Time Lord takes it, something else. If you're betting on a curveball. And subscribe now. Because what's next will break your timeline. We've covered killers, monsters, and cosmic chess masters, but these next 10. They didn't just rewrite the rules. They burned them. What happens when the Doctor loses? When morality cracks? You get this? A dark echo born from the Doctor's own potential for evil. He didn't want to kill the universe. He wanted to win at any cost. And that's scarier than any Dalek army. You heard me. The very species that birthed the Doctor became one of the deadliest forces in the cosmos. The Time War exposed them for what they were: power. Drunk tyrants willing to burn reality to save their own skin. Everyone forgets her. Until you remember her experiments turned living beings into grotesque hybrids. She wasn't evil for revenge. She wasn't evil for chaos. She was evil for science. And that's terrifying. Predating the Time Lords themselves, they fed on entire worlds. And the fact they're still lurking in the cracks of reality. Chills. They play with existence like a board game. Mortals are pawns. Planets are pieces. You think Daleks are bad. At least Daleks care. The Eternals don't even notice you exist. We ranked Cybermen before, but when they network, when they think as one, they become an apex predator with no weak link. If not for the Doctor, the universe would have been converted. Completely. One Dalek is death. A Dalek Emperor is extinction. This wasn't conquest. It was cleansing. Entire galaxies burned so his new Dalek race could rise. And he almost won. Why rank him higher now? Because in the modern era, the Master didn't just kill. He broke the Doctor's soul, and the timeless child reveal. That wasn't just a twist. That was psychological warfare. Pure villainy. You thought he was gone. Think again. RTD planted seeds. The Toymaker was the opening act. His Guardians and Pantheon could make reality itself a plaything. If they rise, game over. And here's the twist. The deadliest villain isn't a person. It's a choice. The Time War was so catastrophic, the Doctor considered genocide to stop it. Entire species erased. Civilizations rewritten. All because of fear, power, and inevitability. The moment, the sentient weapon, made the Doctor confront that truth. And for a heartbeat, the deadliest being in the universe was him. Did that blow your mind? Because here's the reality. The Doctor has spent centuries fighting monsters. But sometimes the scariest villain is the one in the mirror. Now tell me this. Do you agree with this list? Did your favorite monster make the cut? Drop your picks in the comments with Deadliest who. And if you think someone else deserves the throne, prove it. I'll feature the boldest takes in the next BRAGBOBUN episode. Oh, and while you're there, SUBSKRB, because next time, we're ranking the 20 most heartbreaking Doctor Who deaths, and number 1 will rip your soul out harder than Vincent and the Doctor. I'm James Roxford, and this was the Definitive Villain Countdown. Stay curious, stay dangerous, and never trust a smiling angel.